Dear fellow coders, welcome to One Little Coder. In this Applied NLP Python tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to create your own custom named entity recognizer using Spacy 3. For this tutorial, we are going to explore an open source tool called NER Text Annotator. This is an open source tool that has been built and open sourced by Techaholic, a developer whose name is Arun Murray. So thanks to Arun Murray for making this amazing tool and then making it open source. If you have heard about Doccano, if you have heard about Prodigy, this is an open source alternative for those tools, and then you can do data annotation, labels, text data annotation for text data, especially using this NER Annotator. And what we are going to do is, after we do the annotation, we are going to see how to do the model training, NER model training, custom NER model training using Spacy 3. A lot of the tutorial on the internet are focusing on Spacy 2. With Spacy 3, a lot of things have changed. How do you actually train? How do you actually even take the annotated data? So I'm going to cover all these things. So if you are interested in training your custom NER, this video is for you. There are two ways that you can do NER text annotation. So for you to do text annotation using this tool, the first way is that you can set up this tool, because this is an open source tool and the code is available. You can set up this tool on your local machine. I've got a separate video that takes you through step by step how to set up this tool on your local machine, which you can refer, and I'll link it in the YouTube description. But if you do not want to go through that pain, if you want to just simply go to a web URL and then begin your annotation process, then thanks to Techaholic, now this tool is completely available on the internet as a website. So all you have to do is go to this website, which I would link in the YouTube description, or you can see it from this repository. You can click this link and then you would land on this page, and then this page has everything that you want to do annotation. So we need, very first important thing for us to do annotation is we need a text file on which we are going to do the annotation. So where do we get the text file? So for the text file, what I have done is I've gone to a news website and then I've taken some text. So this news is about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. So what I've done is I've taken the text and then I've just put it on my Jupyter. I've just put it on my Visual Studio Code to save it as a text file. So right now I've got a text file called crypto.txt. So I have a file crypto.txt, which is what we are going to use to annotate. And then when you see crypto.txt, after you go select the file, then you can select crypto.txt. After you do that, this is what you would get. You would get a setup like this, where the crypto.txt file is already loaded, and then you have all these things. So now let me quickly break down what you see on the screen. So the first part that you see is what defines, what separates text. Is it a new line? Is it an empty line? Or is it a custom string? Let us say if you say new line and you have got this thing. So new line means every new line would become a separate labeling option for you. But if you say an empty line, this is an empty line. So everything between empty line is considered to be one text. Or if you have a custom option. So these are the three separator options you have got. And then the second thing is, for example, let's say like if I say new line, you can see that I've got 15 new lines. But if I say empty lines, I've got 8 empty lines based on the red changes. The second thing is you need to define what tag that you want to do. For example, let's say I want to say cryptocurrency. Okay. Or I'll just simply say crypto. So crypto is one of the entities that I want to tag. So I will say Bitcoin. I'll say Bitcoin is crypto. Okay. So now let's say I want to do dollars, like money. Okay. So I'm going to say money, or value. Value is probably better, right? I'm going to say value. This is value here. Let's say I want to do percentage. Now I will again add percentage and then say percentage. Okay. So now this is how I would start tagging. So crypto, value, percentage. And here after I click this, so that's another thing, right? So after I click this thing, I have to select which one I want, and then I have to select that. Okay. So I've got crypto, I've got value. So now let's say I want percentage, and let's say I want more values. So I'll click values, and I'll click percentage and I'll say percentage. Okay, so this is how I'm going to select, and I've selected crypto and I've selected Ethereum. So this is what I'm going to do for all the files. So this is the place where you define the tags, the entities, and this is the place where you're going to select it. So one is done. So the next I'm going to select save, and then I've got, so Dogecoin is a crypto. Okay, Dogecoin is a crypto. And we have anything else? Okay, we have an organization here, right? So we have Tesla and we have person. So if I want, I can say org, and then I can say person. Okay, and this is what I'm going to say here. Oh, sorry, I should have selected org, and then I'm going to say Tesla, and I'm going to select person. I'm going to say Elon Musk. Like this, I can keep on tagging, like percentage. Do we have a percentage here? We have a percentage here. Do we have a value here? We have a value here. So I'm going to say next, save. Shibu is a coin, so I'm going to say Shiba is a coin, and then Shiba Inu. So I should probably tag the entire word, percentage, and then value, and this is something that I can just keep on doing, like one by one. So organization, CoinGecko is a organization. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to continue completely doing everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save, and then rest everything I'm going to skip. So probably Coinbase is one thing I wanted to tag. Coin market cap is again another organization. I'm going to cap it. So everything else I'm going to just skip, and I've completed all the sentences. So the website says I've completed all the sentences. And after I do this thing, at this point, I'm going to click export annotations. So first we specify the text separated, then we specify the tags that we want, the entities. Next, we have done the tagging, the annotation. Now we are going to export the annotations. Click export annotations, and then you can save the training data as a JSON file. Training_data as a JSON file. So now the first part, what we set out to do is done. So we have used NER Annotator, an open source tool for annotation, text annotation, especially for NER, named entity recognition, and we have successfully managed to annotate our input text, which is what we are going to use to build a model now. Okay, so step one, upload the text data which we did, create the tags and annotate, export the JSON. And now we are going to see how to do the model training, NER model training, for custom NER model training using Spacy 3. If you want Spacy 2, you can use this code, or also you can refer my previous tutorial that I will link in the YouTube description. But what we are going to focus now is how to do it on Spacy 3, where a lot of things have changed. For the first thing, okay, to start with, we need, let me even clear this environment. I think I should probably do this, right? So I'm going to say clear runtime, factory reset runtime, so that all the data that I've got here will be gone. Reconnect. So I've got a Google Colab notebook, which again I'll link it in the YouTube description, so you don't have to struggle to get started with. So first, I've connected to a Google Colab notebook. First, I'm going to upload my JSON file. What is the JSON file? The JSON file is the annotated text that we just exported from the NER Text Annotator tool. So this is what we exported, and I'm uploading it to my Google Colab notebook to make it easily available for me to access using my code. So the next step is I have to install Spacey. By default, Google Colab comes with Spacey 2.2 version, or something around 2, not 3. So if you want to use Spacey 3, you have to make sure that you are upgrading the Spacey. So I'm going to install it. At this point, I'm installing it silently, so you would not exactly see what is happening, but you can see that it is getting installed. After it gets installed, let me close this and make it big. Yeah, after it gets installed, now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to look for the Spacey version. What version currently we are running on this Google Colab session? You can see that it has said it is 3.2.1. So our objective to do custom NER using Spacey 3 is successfully done. Again, on your machine already you could have Spacey 3, so that's why you would be probably watching this video, but just wanted to show you. So the next step is like if you do not have the JSON file, like from your local machine, if it is on a different place, you can just wget it. But yeah, in our case, we have already uploaded it file, so this is not required. So the next thing is we need to convert this JSON file into a .spacey object. Okay, why? Because starting Spacy 3, Spacy does not have a very typical NER training process that used to happen before. So you need a dot Spacy object, the DocBin object. So now what we are going to do is we are going to convert our existing JSON file that we just got, the annotated text file, into the new format that Spacy wants, which is a dot Spacy DocBin object file. So there are a lot of advantages that Spacy discusses about the DocBin object, like it's fast, the serialization is good. So a lot of advantages are there which you can read it on the documentation, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So we have got Spacy, we have got from Spacy tokens we have got DocBin, and then TQDM is just to show you the progress. So again, this is not a code that I created, this is available on the Spacy documentation itself. So we need the name, rename the file. I'm going to copy the name of the file and then come back here. So I'm just opening the JSON file and then I'm going to store it in training data. I'm sorry, I didn't import this. After I import this, I need to give the correct file name. So it is done. So just to verify whether we have correctly shown, I'm going to say train data and then probably one something. Let's see. Okay, one is, it's a JSON file, right? Why did I do one? Okay, you can see that it has got all the information that we want. We have like annotations, we have whatever information we want, we have it here at this point. So we have annotations and classes. Annotation is what we care about. So I'm going to delete this cell and then go to the next line, and where we are going to use the train data annotation which we just saw, and then going to create the dot Spacy DocBin object. I'm not going to go into this code, not much required for you to understand anything in this. Just copy this snippet and start using it. So I'm going to just run this. Okay, I should have given this name, training data.spacy. Let me delete this object. We don't need this object, just to keep the naming convention same. So training underscore data.spacy. So training underscore data data.spacy. So we have the required object now. So the next couple of lines, what we are going to do is we are going to do using the CLI. So now Spacy's training happens in the CLI, but for you to start that process you need a config file. So this config file can be extracted in two different ways. One is the CLI, what we have done here. The second is, I'm going to show you Spacy config widget. Okay, once you go online and then put this online, so you're going to see the Spacy config, the widget. So here you can select English language and then you can say what task you want to do. In our case it is NER, and then you can select whether you want to do it with CPU or GPU. So if you use GPU, then it's going to leverage the GPU and transformer, but if you say CPU, it is CPU. So you can decide on like what you want to do. So for example, you can see when you select GPU, it becomes a transformer pipeline. When you select CPU, it's just talk to wake pipeline, and then you can see all the differences. And you also can specify whether you want to optimize it for efficiency or you want to optimize for accuracy. After you do this thing, you can download the config file. So this is method number 1. Okay, and after you download the config file, so you can say Spacy init fill config. So it's going to use the base config and then it's going to create the final config file. So this is option 1. What we can do is the option 2, which is to use the CLI and then say okay, init config, this is the config file that I want, and the language I am interested in is English. The pipeline that I'm interested in is NER. So you can manually specify all these options. Whatever option that you had in the widget, you can manually specify that. So I'm going to run this. I've not selected GPU option, and in fact you would have seen that I've not selected runtime GPU on the Google Colab notebook as well. So we're just doing it on CPU. So once you run this thing, it's going to take some time. And then you can see, okay, it's basically telling you that if you want effective transformer based config, which is GPU only, then you need to also install Spacy transformers package. Right now we are not going for GPU, so it is not a problem, but if you are doing it for GPU, then use Spacy transformers package, like install Spacy transformers package, a Python library. And it also says the current config that is generated does not use transformers, and it gives you the information, template information. Language is English, the pipeline that you selected is NER, optimized for efficiency, hardware is CPU, transformer is none, all the values are filled, config file is saved. Go here and then see your config file is available for you to use. The next thing that you have to do is you have to say Python Spacy train, and then you're going to train now using the config file. You already have the training information, the .spacy DocBin object. You have the config. Now you have to start the training process. So Spacy train config file, and where do you want to save the output? This is the path of the output directory. I'm basically saying that, give me everything here inside this. But if you want to put it in an output directory, again, you can go here, create a new directory, and then, you can keep it there. So it's up to you. But in my case, I'm just basically saying like dump everything in my current root folder. So the next thing is your training path, which is our training file is training_data.spacy. The next thing would be our validation file. So in our case, again, we are just, because this is again used for a demo purpose, we are using our training file as our validation file, like training object as our validation object. But in the real world, you are not going to do that. You would have done this NER activity annotation for a separate file altogether, and then you have done the same process. So like whatever we just did for the training data, you should have done this for the validation data as well. We are not doing that here just because it is a demo. I don't want to take up a lot of time, but in the real world, make sure that this is your validation data set, like a test object or a validation object. Okay, so now I'm going to start this process. It might take some time, so you might see me continuously editing that video somewhere there, so that just don't think that I'm cheating you. It's just that I don't want you to wait and see. So you can see that it has set up the NLP object. Pipeline has been created, vocabulary has been created, initializing NLP object is done, initializing pipeline components, and then you can also see certain important parameters like what is the loss value, what is the NER loss, and then you can start seeing, and you would see convergence happening very soon. The reason is because our text data is very small, and also the second reason is like our validation data is as same as our training data. So these are some reason you would see the convergence happening very soon. But again, it would just simply go through the same loop that it has to go through, and then you just have to wait and see once it finishes. After it finishes, our next objective is to use some text that is available and then try out how the model validation is like how the model training has been done. So for that we need some data set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and then look for another news that talks about Bitcoin prices. Okay, so Bitcoin prices news. Let's see what is there. Markets and trade, Ethereum fall. So we have some news. Let's copy this. Like I'm just being ready. Let's copy this and then keep it ready. Okay, so we're going to copy this and keep it ready. Copy, right click, copy and ready. And at this point we have to add this text. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the text before the model process finishes. I'm going to use 3 quotes because like we have a lot of multi-lines, we have quotes, so just wanted to make sure that it does the right job. And then yes, we have it. So we have almost everything ready. So right now we have to just wait for the model training process to finish, and as you can see at this point it's just going on, and you can see the scores have not changed much for the same reason that I said, right? Our input training data is very small, and also the validation data that we have given is as same as the training data. So you would see everything. So the pipeline is successfully saved to the output directory. Like right now you can assume that I didn't do any editing. You just saw the same time it took. So pipeline is the saved pipeline to output directory. Go to the output directory and then see you have the last model and you have the best model. So you have last and best. So last and probably like somewhere around best here. Okay, so the next thing is we are going to load the best model. So I'm going to go here, copy the path, come back here, paste it, and instead of just usually we create NLP as an object, but because we already have an NLP object somewhere here, right? Somewhere here, yeah. Because we have an NLP object, I'm just going to call this something else. In this case, NLP_NER. Load the model. After the model is loaded, now we have to create the doc object, just what you do with Spacey all the time. So our doc object is done, and now is time for magic to see whether whatever we have done in this tutorial makes sense or no. I hope you are excited as I am. So Spacy.displaySeat.render will render us with this tag. So I'm going to just run it. Okay, we have done a great job. So we have taken the news article. It says this is value. It didn't catch this percentage though, and it's thinking this is value. Okay, this is value. Bitcoin is crypto. This is percentage. Yeah, there is a little bit of mess up here. Ethereum is crypto. Sebastian is percentage. Elon Musk is person. Okay, Leon Spacewalker is percentage. Like I said, right? So our data is very less, but you can see that it has done a decent job. I mean, like, whether you want to call it a decent job or not, it's because like I didn't want to spend a lot of time in tagging a lot. So that again goes back to this story that, you know, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if your training data is really good, you are training really well, so your output is going to be really good. So if you want to do this for your official purpose or a real good hobby project, not just for a YouTube tutorial, then you should really spend some time in doing the tagging. Like you need to use this tool to tag more. Like we skipped a lot, as you remember. You need to make sure that you tag everything that you see. You will have like more versatile text. We just used news article from one website, but you can use news article from multiple websites to have diverse training data, and then also have a decent validation data, so that, you know, whatever you see here makes sense, not just in one epoch you are going to get convergence. Okay, but nevertheless it has done the job. Like we have at this point successfully .Spacey DocBin object that we can use to detect crypto, web3, whatever you would like to call it. And this is a custom NER, so this is not part of, like, you can see that we have not loaded any English model, so we have just loaded like a blank model, and you can see we have successfully managed to do custom NER for cryptocurrencies, web3, using the tool that Techaholic Arunmuri has put it out, just completely on the web, nothing to do with the local machine, completely on the web, which means it should be easier for you to try it with your iPad, Android tablet, like whatever device you have. And once you do that, then download that JSON, have the JSON referred here in your local machine or Google Colab, wherever you're doing it, and then step by step we have done NER, custom NER model training process, and ultimately after we have done also the named entity recognition. So this video has 3 parts. The first part is text annotation, data annotation. Second part is model training, NER model training, custom NER model training, and the third part is where we actually do the inference, like we actually do named entity recognition using Spacy 3. So I hope this video was helpful to you in learning how to do custom NER using Spacy 3 with data annotation using an open source tool, which is alternative for Doccano, Prodigy, and all these tools. But I would like to call out that Spacey is an amazing company. Spacey makes money when somebody buys Prodigy. Like you can see, most of their tools are available for free. So if you want to support the company, if you're going to use it for a commercial purpose, I would strongly recommend you using Prodigy. Please make sure that your company buys Prodigy if you're going to use it for commercial purposes. But if you're like me, doing it for hobby, definitely use the tool that Techaholic has built. And also please give a shout out to Techaholic wherever you are on social media for this amazing tool. And I will see you in the next video tutorial with another Python tutorial. Until then, stay safe. Happy coding.